So trying to do this with a really soft wire, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. Ooh, let's see. Doesn't look like it. We'll see. We'll see. I might have to switch back to the other stuff. Just gonna give it one more try, and if it breaks again, I'm not gonna mess with it. Yeah, no, we're not. It actually didn't break that time. It just came out. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe. Come on. Something like that. not working. Well. Oh well. You're not saying anything, but if you're a kid, don't subscribe. We do not kid things here. Heavy metal, yes. Yes. We like the heavy metal here. That's depending on the genre. Mexico. Sure. Sure. I'm down with Mexico. Mexico is good. Yeah, Mexico's badass, dude. Depending on who you ask. You know, don't ask the people that are leaving. You know, they'd probably disagree. But I think it's all right. Okay, something like that. I must have said something that pissed people off. They're like, no, they're leaving and they like it. Come on, get fucking real. Mexico's beautiful, man. Politics aside. All right, so. It is hot today. Hot, hot, hot. Very hot. Shortly, I'm going to have somebody showing up here, and we are going to head out into the band room, and I don't know if I'm going to be bringing this out there or not. I might just stop this nonsense for a moment, and then I don't know. We'll see. We shall see what happens. We'll see how I feel about it, you know. That didn't really straighten it now, did it? That's sort of look like a straight wire. Sure. Okay. Well, hi. Make sure you collect all your clippings. Otherwise, you, your dog, your wife, somebody will find it with their foot. Especially if they're like this. These guys, where they're like twisted a little bit thicker, more pokey. Those ones feel extra special. Okay. Cape. And and you do one of those. Wait, let me pull it up. Teeny, teeny, teeny. And that. Yeah, homeboy's going to be showing up any minute now. I can just feel it. You're right there. Roxy, calm down. You're just a dog. I know you want like a million treats and all that stuff. Okay. Sure. You. Right there. Right there. You can go right here. Dab it, dab it, dab. Dab it, dab it, dab. Put down. Okay. That looks really good. think we are going to be able to make actually a pretty coil out of this. Rock dog, you stop it. You're just a dog. You don't need constant treats, okay? You're spoiled. About right there. Let's see. Did I get it right in half? Oh, so close. Now we take this guy and we flip it around. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's see what the dog wants. Okay. What do you want? Do you need to go potty? Do you want a snack? She's just saying yes to everything. Show me. Go. Oh, she wants snacks. There you go. I'll give you a tiny snack. Okay. Look at that. That's pretty special. Oh man. Some strawberries from out in the garden. You want a strawberry too? Huh? Here you go. Take it nice. Come on, chew it. Get it. Come on. There you go. Rock Dog loves the strawberries. Sit. Take it nice. Good girl. Okay. Now we're going to fuse these two wires together. Hey, what up, Jake? How you doing? You're the first person to actually say something other than Spanish. You know, no, we're not going to. Jason's still in Florida, and Mike couldn't do it. I was hoping that Jason would be back by now, and we could just have a jam with us three. You know, me, Joey, and Jason, because I knew Mike couldn't be here. But I sent him a message last night, and you know, that was around, uh, shortly after you asked in the other live, and so it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning in Florida. When he got my message, and if he would have been in town, he probably would have responded, but he didn't respond until 6 in the morning my time, you know, and saying that he was still in Florida and blah blah blah. But Joey's going to be coming over. I need to be quiet or careful saying his name. Roxy will start tripping out because she loves him, and he's going to come over, and he can't stay. He's like, I could probably come over for a minute. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do today, and so he's probably like being nice. You know what I'm saying? Just sacrificing a little bit of time and stopping by on his way to do whatever. So I just sent him a message being like, hey, do you mind coming over here and help me mess with the sound a little bit? I've been doing this by myself. It'd be kind of cool if you can get on the drums and, just kind of do what I've been doing. But, it's a big help if you get somebody with you. It's, I mean, luckily I'm working on music and I love music, but oh shit. It's very slow going. Super slow going. It's like yeah. Luckily it's music related. Let's just put it that way. Because if it was something this annoying and I was working on something else, I just wouldn't even do it. Because it's gay. A lot of, making adjustments and going back and making, you change something and it doesn't do what you want and you got to go back and do it again. And are you trying to it's pain in the ass, I'm sure. Yeah, and here's the thing. I've got all this stuff that I'm doing right now is just to get us in the ballpark. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to have to do it again once everybody's here. Because at that point, everybody will be on their instruments and I'll be able to hear everybody at the same time. And then I'll be able to mix everybody at the same time. It's one thing to be like, okay, I've kind of got the drums and the bass together. Here, let me fake it on the guitar while you're playing the drums. And knowing the guys, they're probably going to be like, oh, my amp isn't as loud as I want it. Let me turn this up, which is going to mess with the mix, so it's, whatever. It just takes time. It's all part of it. Right now I'm just making a coil. Huh. I'm not rich, dude. In fact, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. But like I said, at one point I had money, but I don't do what I did anymore. Right? Yeah. Why don't I just buy like some automated stuff and just pay for an engineer? You know, like, hey, here, dude. You know, I'll just you know, I'll just rent an Illuminati member, and he'll just make all the connections, and you know, me and the Rockefellers, and I forget the other dude's last name, but he's been in the money even longer. That family. I forget his last name, but he's the guy that. Yeah, yeah, it works pretty good. It's a really tiny light guy, and it doesn't weigh it down too much. But the guy whose last name I can't remember, he's quoted saying, "I care not what puppet sits on the throne. It's the money that controls the world, and I've got all the money." You know, these are the people we don't hear about. You know, everybody bitches about Elon Musk and all this other stuff, and how rich he is, and it's like, dude, he's only got a few, only got a few $1 billion in the bank. There's people out there that have trillions. Trillions. That's billions of billions. Yeah, fuck you and you know, what your chump change fucking billions. You know, I've got 500 trillion in my bank account. You know, I tell kings what to do. Oh, what am I doing? What'd you do this weekend? Oh, I went fishing. Right on, that's cute. I changed the world with a signature. You know? Yeah, the reason I use these guys is because they likes to flail out. Lose its damn mind. And what's cool is it's tight enough to kind of hold it, but not so tight that when my finger hits it, it'll just kind of slide down. What do you even buy at that point? Well, you join secret societies and have extremely messed up experiences. You know, you've already done everything. You know what I'm saying? So now you just kind of. I assume if you buy anything, it's countries, right? shouldn't say anything, but I think this coil is going to end up really fucking nice. Yep, see, it shouldn't say anything. There's a lot here that looks really good. Okay. Okay, now we grab this bitch and we go in reverse and straighten all these things out here a little bit, a little bit. Alright, I wish I could show you what this looks like. I might be able to, but it is like, it's just super small. My camera's like, doesn't do that good close-ups of this tiny stuff. It's really good at doing video of ugly people like me, but close-up shots, yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, you'll be able to see my face even better, and you guys will be like, ugh. Yeah, I can feel Joey getting closer. He's gonna be showing up any minute here. Where'd you go? Here we go. I might be able to show you this. We'll see. But it is tiny. Super Xyler? Xyler? Alright, let's see. Oh, oh hi. Straighten this out the tiniest of bits here. It's like not laying flat. Let me see if I can do this. Maybe. Kinda. See what I'm working with here? Yeah, but it's like 2 guitar strings, and the wrap around the guitar string is perfectly spaced, right? So imagine, instead of it being like a guitar string, where all the wires that wrap are touching, the wire that you wrap onto it you want a space in between that wrap, that wire's amount of gap. And how you do that is you take the wire that you're going to wrap it with, say it's going to be 34, and you make a little hoop with it, right? And you've got your piece of wire, right? Say this is it. And you put the hoop on there, and then you hold it out with your finger, right? And then on this hand, you hold the spool. So you've got kind of like this tripod thing going on. So you got your you got the spool in these fingers, the hoop in this finger, and you're just doing this, and the spool, you know, unravels onto the wire, and then the hoop, which is, you know, looped around it, that goes on, and that creates the gap, right? And you make the first one long enough so you can cut it in half and make two, right? And then you take the wire that you wrapped it with, and then you wrap the two together, going in the space that you created of each wrap. And you know, so if you just make a guitar string looking one, those are called Clapton coils, right? I kind of like to call them Claypool coils, you know, because I play bass, but they're called Claptons. I didn't name them, but you essentially make a spaced Clapton, and then you fuse it together. It's Claptons are really easy to make. They're super easy. You know, you just and as it wraps on, you know, it will just push the wire forward for you, and you know, but it's a bitch to make a spaced one. And the reason I go through the hassle of making these fused Claptons as opposed to just doing a Clapton is because the wire itself becomes a wick. You know, because there's tiny holes that go through the wire, you know. And yeah, the wire itself becomes a wick. Where's my tool? But yeah, this one turned out pretty good, and it's because I got the spacing. Oh, here it is. The spacing pretty good on it. We shall see how this goes. One thing I don't like about them is they're springy. You know, you can take a wire like this, right? Cut off the piece. Like, come on. Oh yeah. There's some wires out there that you can make where you don't have to even use cotton. I don't know how people do it. I haven't tried it. I think it's kind of dumb. I would always use cotton. But like I was saying, you can take a wire like this and just wrap, you know, just a single wire, and just wrap it, and you know, it doesn't, you know, see how I came down here and it just stays there. And then what you can do is grab this guy, pull some back because it's a little messed up on the first wrap. I know you can't see that. I like to do 5 typically. You know, depending on the thickness of the wire and the amount of wraps, that all affects the ohms. And the hey, what's up, Lori? Depending on the ohms, that will dictate the amount of draw that it requires to heat it, right? And all that stuff really only matters if you're running on mechanical vapes. You know, if you're running on a box mod, it has protection in it, you know, in the, you know, the computer chip and all that other stuff. So you don't really need to worry about it. But if you're running like on a mechanical, you know, like the tubes, you know, they're basically just a tube with a battery in it, you can make a coil that will try and draw more amps than that battery can push. And you can put the battery into like thermal runaway. It'll overheat and you know, like imagine if you just took like this, you know what I'm saying, and you just stuck it in there, bolted it down. You know, the amount of draw that it would take for this to get hot, the batteries would be like, ouch, you know. No, if you got shit batteries, yeah, you know, like, but my batteries last like a day and a half, you know. At Blue Reef, right on, that's cool. I don't know where that is. You know, yeah. Well, how was the turnout? I mean, you gotta go, bro. Bye. Okay, right on. rock on. I don't know if you met Laurie Swift yet. That person comes in here and mentions something about their band often. Apparently, it's a family band, and yeah, whatever, rock on. But they're like, yeah, we're recording and we're gonna release whatever and check us out. And I'm like, okay. What kind of music do you play? Indie rock type stuff. It's like, okay, well, you know, I lived through the 90s. You know, I'm kind of you know, I've been bludgeoned with that. Mr. Jones. But yeah, see how this is like springy. You know, so I put it all the way down here, and it wants to go back up there. You know, so it's this thing really doesn't take its final form until you heat it up. So I like to kind of do like an extra wrap than it's going to end up having, and then, you know, I just deal with it later once it's in the damn thing. Oh, that's a good looking coil, if I don't say so myself. Would a torch help? Yeah, some people have done that. You know, like they'll take it off their thing, you know, and they'll hold the two leads, you know, and you can just torch it. But I find that it's better just to actually install it onto your thing, and then you can, manipulate it with your tool and get it into position, and it's I mean, maybe you could, torch it a little bit before you even wrapped it. Firm it up a little bit. Who knows? I just do what I've always done. So, Homeboys Live last night, Fate Line. It seems like everybody in there is pretty good natured. He seems like a really nice dude. Um, I don't know the guy, but he seems like a pretty cool guy. And I kind of threw him a curveball with that Dead Cross song. I knew exactly what I was doing there. I knew that song was crazy, and I wasn't expecting him to try and play OTEP. You know what I'm saying? Somebody just brought up a girl singer and whatever, and it was like, dude, you want to hear? I don't even really listen to that much OTEP. I think she's kind of a spin off of the whole Corn vibe. Like fucking, and not to talk shit about Corn, because I love Corn, but that's because I grew up with them. But since I've gotten older, I just can't vibe with that shit anymore. I'm not a angsty, angry kid anymore. You know what I'm saying? But there's always going to be a new batch of seventh graders. So that shit will live on forever. But I think that that genre is going to have to change with the times. Like the next Corn, if you will, is probably going to have to be like a band of like blue-haired trannies or something. You know what I'm saying? Or some shit. I don't know. And when I made that comment about Rage Against the Machine, I noticed that some kid was like, "Oh, they're not part of the machine." Rage isn't part of the machine. It's like, yes, they fucking absolutely are. Too complicated. Yeah, and sometimes because of the mix, you actually can't hear the guitar. It's whatever is too prominent in the mix. But back to that comment about Rage not being part of the machine. I'm sorry, they just are. If there's like an agenda being pushed, it's like back in the day when you're singing about that stuff and that agenda is not being pushed. It's just not a thing. That's kind of counterculture, right? Then yeah, you're raging against the machine. But today, that's kind of like that is the propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, that's part of the machine. And I looked at the kid's picture. He looked like he was, a kid. Well, right. on to some level, right? Sure, every band that gets big, it becomes part of the machine, if you will. But not all of those bands are literally, their lyrics are propaganda. You know, the narrative, you know, screw America, you know, communism, socialism. They literally sound like every college kid that's lost their mind right now. But that track with Maynard is bitching. I couldn't see Maynard doing that today. I think he's grown. You know, um, I haven't. I still have the stuff that I had. You know what I'm saying? I haven't gone out there and bought new gear. Like this is a this is new to me. Um, but it's an old mod. I looked it up and it's like from 2015, right? And I think something like that. And this is the V1 of the drag. You can see how old it is. This is the paint's all rubbed off just from holding it. That's where the hand grips right here, and the paint's just been rubbed off. But um, I couldn't tell you what good ones are. I got online and tried to look up some of the older boutique ones that I remembered, and I couldn't find them. These are the ones that were like nice. I mean, they were expensive. Probably a couple $100, but they were like they had like a big brass plate on the top, and you know um, built like hardcore. Like you could probably throw it at rocks and it wouldn't break. You know, I'm sure I could break it, but it's but there's companies that are still making stuff. Um, I looked into like some flavor, that some of the newer flavor mods or atomizers that are out there, and it's all pretty much the same stuff What I look at when I'm looking for gear, because I've bought a lot of stuff because of the hype, and I was new, and what I've learned is whatever you're buying, you want your screws to have a lot of bite. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, the Kennedy is just. There's people today that still rock the Kennedy, and there's people out there today that still are like, yeah, the Kennedy is the best. Nothing's ever gonna beat the Kennedy. Let me see what the hell this dude's saying real quick. If you're ready and willing. Okay, sorry about that. I had a message from somebody. He wants me to help him with something. But yeah, do you still have your Kennedy? I mean, if you still have your Kennedy, I would just rock that damn thing. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I rock Kennedy. They're, I think it's gangster. There's nothing wrong with the Kennedy at all. It's built well. I had to go and buy a couple new screws for it. Oh, he lost a bunch of shit. You got to get up and at him. What time is it noon? Oh, it is. So you out of here, man? Oop. Roxy, you need to just calm down. You're a puppy dog. What? Is it lunchtime? Is that why you're crying? You need lunch? All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you around. All right. Look at this. What is that? Oh, man. Big business. Bam. Later, man. If you're not familiar with them, check them out. They're a pretty good band. Chicks dig it. Okay. Speaking of the Kennedy, I'm going to go grab it. I'm not going anywhere. Eat your food. Get your toy. Get your toy. You better get that toy. You better get it. Where's my juice? Huh? What'd you do with my juice? Huh. I wonder where it went. Did you hide my juice, rock dog? Ah. Whatever. I'll just use this stuff. Sure. I think I'm going to make the exact same coil I just made, because that was a good one. And 30. Okie dokie. Something like that. A little bit. Where'd my little hoop go? There you go. Sure. And then gotta put that on. Can't forget that. Huh? What's wrong? What's wrong with me? Sure. Oh, really? You made your own juice? I've tried to clone a few juices. You know, there's a few juice companies that disappeared, you know, once the FDA took over, and there was some other uh, juices that were made by people, and then those people left those companies, and once that mixologist left the company, uh, the juice just went to shit. Yeah, but there's still good juices out there, you know. But I agree, it's not the same. You know, the days of like, you know, cloud competitions, tricks, and coil competitions and shit and all that stuff. I think that's a thing of the past. You know, no more trips to Germany and you know wherever. You know, how y'all doing? Oh, Jake took off. He was like, oh shit, it's noon. I need to get out of here. It's like, all right, man, rock on. I'm just killing a little bit of time. I got a buddy that's coming over, and we're gonna head out into the room and hopefully get some some a handle on some of this nonsense with the sound. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Tobacco extractions to make tobacco flavored juice. I've grown tobacco, my own tobacco, and rolled cigars. I still got a bunch of seeds. The amount of seeds that tobacco plants put out is ridiculous. Thousands. Thousands. But yeah, I still like making coils. Damn it. I couldn't tell you which variety it is. Um, like seriously, I have no idea what variety of tobacco it was. There's a bunch of them, you know. My neighbor ended up growing some too. He had some that were. It looked like he had a couple different varieties. And what's funny is he had no idea what he was doing. So I was like, "Oh, cool, you're growing tobacco, huh?" And because you know, it's like looking at a pot plant. You know, they're easily recognizable. And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "So when are you gonna cut them down?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna let them grow, and they'll pop back up next year." And I was like, thinking, no, that's you know they're perennials, you know. So they just sat there, and winter came, and they rotted, and he lost all of his plants, and it was a damn shame. right. Yeah, I've learned that, some people you can't just tell them they're wrong. You gotta let them learn. After it happens, you can come in and be like, yeah, I thought about telling you, but you know how some people can be. Yeah, these are actually fused Claptons. A little different. What you do is they're almost the same, except it's made with two wires that have been Claptoned with a space. So what you do is you take a wire, right? Like here's a wire, and instead of just wrapping it right with your wire, and each of your wraps they're touching, like a guitar string, you wrap it so there's a space in between each wrap, right? And you want the space to be the distance between each wrap to be the width of the wire that you're wrapping it with, right? And you do, a long enough piece to where you can do this, cut it in half, and then what you want to do is take the piece and flip it around, right? So your wraps are all going in the same direction, right? And then you take the same wire that you Claptoned it with, and you wrap it going in the space, and that fuses the two together. And they're a nice vape. I like them. Let me see if I can show you a close up of this guy that I just did. Oops. Maybe. I mean, this is thin ass wire, so you can kinda see it. You can see that it's two-ish-ness. But the reason I like these more than just your regular Claptons is because the coil itself has kind of a wicking. Has a wicking property to it. Do you need to go potty? Huh? You go outside and do dog stuff? Here, let's take the dog outside. here. Oh, Shay, what's up, man? How you doing? All right, well, see you later, Wolf. I'll see you around. So, Raider, I'm just about to take the dog outside and let her take a dump or take a piss. Something. We'll see. You gonna potty, or you just want to get your sniffs in? Huh? I'm doing all right. You know, waiting for one of my homies to show up here, and I'm gonna put him on the drums, and I'm gonna hopefully be able to mix them a little bit better than me just, you know, headphones and me hitting a tom and another tom and then taking the headphones off and going over the mixer and making an adjustment and then going back to the drums and, you know, being like, hey, did that do what I wanted? Nope. Let's keep fucking with this shit for 30 hours. Hey, what's up, Julio? Oh, Ashley. Everybody's in here. Gosh, man, I'm popular today. Tough with yeah. Uh, yeah. It's less than ideal. Even put my wife on them. You know, I'll have to pull her off one of her shows that she's watching. I'll be like, hey babe, you want to play some drums? And she's like, I don't even know how to play the drums. I'm like, you don't have to play them, just hit shit. You can hit shit. You know, you hit me. I'm joking, but you know, sorry about the airplane. You gonna go potty, huh? Or you just, what are you doing? Come on. Come on, dude. You want a treat? Huh? Yeah. There we go. That's what it's all about, really. The treats. Okay, let's get in the house here. So, you know, that's what I'm hoping to do. And I'm just, you know, killing some time right now before Homeboy shows up. And there you go. That was fun. And figured I'd there we go, make a couple coils for the vaping. Yeah, it's been kind of weird. It's normally not that nice up here. You know, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and it's, you know, the sun will grace us with its presence, and then it's just gray forever. And then, you know, it might tease us a bit, and then it's gray. But I play bass guitar primarily. You know, I can pretend on the drums and pretend on the guitar, but that's it. No, I don't play those instruments. I pretend on the bass too. I mean, who are we kidding? You know. We're all just a bunch of fakers over here. That's not even a real dog. Okay. So, yeah, they probably drink too much and, you know, yeah, try and screw your wife and you know, just the typical shit. Oh, they're legends. Okay. Well, I guess we've got differing opinions in the Raider house. So, what are you all up to today? Not too much if you're visiting me. It's like, not that this isn't, the spot where the cool kids hang out. This, there's not very many people in here right now, but, I've kind of accumulated a little group of some pretty outstanding people here. There's some cool cats, man. Oh, Evil Bay come through? I missed her. Sorry, I was let me see something. Wait. Oh yeah, she is here. Right on. How you doing, homegirl? I had to adjust my messages so I'm actually seeing everything. So if I wasn't responding to everything, it's probably because I wasn't seeing you. So I apologize. Yeah, we're not jamming today. The guitar player's in Florida, and he's getting back either late tonight or tomorrow. And the new guy, the additional guitar player that we brought on, he's doing something else, so he can't make it today. Yeah, we that's actually how this channel kind of started. Um, um, I was, we were practicing and stuff, and I was like, shit, why don't I just, go live and share what we're doing in the room with whoever wants to look. And what I would typically do is after I was done jamming, or we were done jamming, I would sit down and kind of chat with whoever was in there. And one of the guys was like, you should do this more, man. You talk about some pretty cool stuff, and you're willing to talk about anything, and you're a pretty cool guy. Blah blah blah. So I was like, sure, whatever. So I just kind of started going live, and uh, whenever I felt like it. So it's kind of I've started doing that a little bit too. Um, Plus, I'm disabled. I'm an epileptic, so I don't work, and so I might as well do something while I'm doing nothing, right? But yeah, our music is I was in a band for a long time, and anyways, I was in that band for a long time, and that stuff that we wrote was had key signature changes, and time signature changes, and there was a lot of parts, and builds and crescendos and all the shit, right? And I wanted this project to just be like super simple, stuff, just basic type shit, and I'm sure there's people out there that are, like, oh, that stuff looks really easy to play. Yeah, it is. And I want it that way. That's the style. We play like stoner rock, I suppose. So I mean, that stuff isn't complicated. It's like by design. You know, the root, the octave, the third, the fourth. Oh my God, we did a seventh. Ooh, Yeah, no, I actually, I dig it. I dig what we're doing. I dig the genre, and I just kind of wish I had a different name. 'Cause, not it'd make more sense if like all of us smoke weed. We all have. Like everybody has at least tried it or whatever, but none of us smoke pot. Uh, you know, but whatever. So I don't know. It's kind of a doomy sludge type shit. You know, just simple. You know, really loud. Very, very, very loud. Shit. Back here, I'll show you guys the room. How's that sound? You can get a look at the gear a little bit, and this fucking coil's done anyway. I'll bring this, and I'll bring you, and then we're just gonna be styling. Sure, come on, Rox. What am I making? A vape coil for these things. A lot of people use these guys, these disposable vape things. I've had this thing forever. And they're, I don't know what's in them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the coil's made of. I don't know what the juice. And it comes from a country that hates us. You know. They're no thanks, man. And it's like, fuck, I've already got all this stuff. All the stuff that I have is like from the early 2000s. This is like ancient gear. But I was like, all I need to do is just go buy juice. So I did. And I just, Okay, we're going into the room. Come on. Come on. Come on, we're going in here. Come on, baby. Close that noise up. Alright. So this is the band room. And there's still a fly in here. What do you know? So let me spin you around a little bit. So this is my guitar. I bought that for like $100 off some kid that, was like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I think the auxiliary input is broken. I was like, I'll give you $100. Oh, sure. It was like brand new. He didn't know, I stole it from him. So, that's Homeboy's drum set. This is my amp. It's a, Ampeg SVT2, the rack mountable one that doesn't have the master volume. It's just got one volume, and it is what it is. It's a beast. And then this is an old PVV TM120. Yeah, Jason's had this. He bought this new years ago, and it's on top of a PV something. It's got Sheffields in it. Sheffields aren't the greatest speakers. Some people are, they geek out about them, but this is one of my basses. Yeah, whatever. My dad, he sent this guitar over for me to fix. It's like some Alabama tribute guitar that he got when, I don't know, he went to their farewell tour and got to meet them backstage, and they gave him this guitar, and it was covered with like all their signatures and shit, and he left it at one of his buddies' house, and the guy decided he was gonna like clean it, and he like wiped off all the signatures and shit, but that guy ended up messing the guitar up. So my dad sent it over here so I could fix it, and it was pretty rough shape, but it's a good player, even though it's a piece of shit. But whatever. It actually, Buck, he plugged into his amp and he jammed some shit on it. It sounds all right, man. I was like really kind of, this is the first time I heard it, and I was like, dude, that thing sounds pretty good. Whatever, Whatever, man. But Roxy, she likes to come in here when we jam. We just put, where are they? We got these earmuffs that we put on her. Where's your ears, Rock Dog? Where'd your ears go? Huh? Eh? Anyways, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like those big ass muff things, that you put on before you, I don't know, weed whack or whatever the hell. I got a pair of them. We fold her ears back, and we just put them on underneath and just cup them on there, and cause she'll just cry until she comes. Mom lets her in. Mom, my wife. So, yep. Well, thanks, man. I think you got a cool space too, man. I mean, it's pretty kick-ass. You got all those lights and, homeboys in the back on the kit, and it's cool to look at. Yeah, yeah. She likes to just be in here. She doesn't. We don't, hand her a triangle or a cowbell or anything like that. But she just, she just wants to be part of it. Yeah. I used to have a bunch of skulls here, just Halloween shit. But they, I don't know what happened to them. I must have tossed them at some point. Maybe my wife did. Oh, look at that. Here they are. Here's Roxy's earmuffs. I'll show you what she looks like when she's got them on. Rock Duck, you wanna wear your ears? Yeah. It's funny, she doesn't mind at all. Here, let's put them on. Oh, it sounds like homeboy's here. And she loves this guy, so she's gonna shit the bed as soon as she sees him. What's up, Dad? I'm in here.
Hey. What's up, puppy? Got a treat? Got a treat! There's a little one.
Oh, she don't care.
Little blue buffalo or whatever.
Right on.
Yeah.
Just hanging out with a couple people.
Oh, hey.
I told him you were coming by, and whatever. But I don't know if we're gonna continue this while we're doing this because it's just not that cool. As cool as we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But so, how's your day going, man?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
You running around doing
Yeah.
shit? And...
Yeah, I gotta go by Costco, and my neighbor's fixing his fence, so I gotta be there to kind of do my side of it, and so.
Okay. Are you just trying to make sure? Is he just putting him right back where it was, or?
Yeah, well, his connects to mine, and then I got one that's kind of leaning, so I got to dig up around it, and then we're gonna pour concrete.
Okay.
Just kind of shore it up, and then he can tie his new fence into it. So
okay.
It's a little project he's been working on,
and he's gotten to the point where you need to be there.
Yeah, because last weekend we were gonna do it, and it didn't happen, so. He came by, knock on my door this morning. Hey man, you gonna be around today?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Sure. Well, we'll try and work quick so you can get back to.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna be doing some coffee. So. All right. Right on, man. Cool. What's up, dudette? Well, thanks for stopping by, y'all. I'll probably be back on a little bit, but me and Joey here, we're gonna lose our minds here for a minute. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. But thanks for stopping by. Keep it real. Rock on. Okay. Texas to the UK. No, yeah, I remember you mentioning that, man. Aloha way. Yeah, rock on, Raider. Thanks for stopping by. That's really cool, man. Sub if you like. Don't if you don't. We normally jam on Sundays, but the other guys are, like I mentioned, they're just not available today. but we normally jam on Sundays at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So whatever that equals out to you, wherever you're at, that's what time it would be for you. Swing by and listen to some stoner rock, man. Some sober stoner rock. But I'll catch you around. All right, keep it real.